This episode of A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live is brought to you in part by Viewfinder's Identity Search and Design. Your choice for web design, graphic design, and all multimedia development needs. Visit VFISAD.com and let us bring your vision to reality.
This is Charlotte Chung.
And Fred Tatasciore.
And you're listening to
A.C.M.G. Presents
Talk Time Live.
Welcome to the show to give you all the news, views, and opinions in the world of gaming. This is A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live Extras. So let's start with your host, Xavier Josiah. Power up and game on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live Extra Select Start. I am your host, Xavier Josiah. Yes, folks, I am back from one of the biggest weekends of my year, and that is at Keystone Comic-Con this year. Of course, as you all may know, if you're new to this show, welcome. And as if you didn't know, I was hosting two panels this year at Keystone Comic-Con here in Philadelphia at the Pennsylvania Convention Center this past weekend, and it was absolutely awesome. Everything that I wanted to be and more. And we're going to talk about a little bit of the recap of everything that happened on the panels. Not everything that happened at the con, because I'll save that for Sunday. There was, of course, it was headlined by Tom Holland, a.k.a. Spider-Man, making an appearance. The first appearance that he's made outside of D23 since the announcement that Marvel Studios will no longer be having him in their universe. So this was a very special event, even more special than it was before. It was already special that he was there, but upon the announcement, it was just like people were emotional about the situation. So it was interesting that how he was going to, be able to ease our minds with everything. How did it go? We'll talk about that on Sunday on Talk Time Live, the Prime show. But I was able to, I had the honor, thanks to the good people at ReedPOP, the great people at ReedPOP, the hard-working people at ReedPOP, who gave me the opportunity to host two panels of my own for Talk Time Live. And one was the art of Street Fighter, and the other one was the Voices of Overwatch. And, excuse me, I can't tell you how great those turned out. And take note, this was the first time I ever went live on a podcast. This podcast has been around for, say, 3 going on 4 years, maybe. I'm going to say 3, a little bit over 3 going on 4. And a lot has happened. A lot has happened with this podcast since I started it. And all the way back to the beginning till now, I've had over 20... I got to recount again because it's like the amount of guests that I've had involving anime, comics, movies, and games has increased exponentially in the past 3 years. And some of them I've had like multiple times. And I think we're reaching up to almost getting to 30 now. It's getting closer to that 30 mark of guests that we've had on this show. And especially special guests on the show. And I couldn't be more honored by the opportunities that I've had and been given, and once I take these opportunities, I run with them hard. So when ReedPOP, who I worked with last year, working, to get Molly and Megaran and a few others in last year, we decided to work together this year. And this time, the good people, shout out to Eddie at ReedPOP. He presented me with the opportunity of doing my own panels for Talk Time Live. And I decided, hell yes. Even though I've never done a live panel before, I interviewed many people. So that was my comfort right there of knowing that I was going to be able to do this. Because however the size of the crowd would be or whatever like that, my focus is the person that I'm interviewing anyway. So I didn't have a problem with it at all. I said, yes, I'll definitely do it. I'm honored to do so. So the Voices of Overwatch was the first thing that he presented to me. And I was like, okay, that's a big deal. We got a stadium about to happen here. We got a team here that we're about to have. So I'm all for this. Let's do this. And not only that, it was with one of the actors that I was going to be interviewing, was somebody I've been dying to do to have on my show for quite some time, and that was Fred Tatasciore, the Incredible Hulk, now Deathstroke on Young Justice. Invader Zim. He's in so many things. Like it's like wherever you go, there he will be, and he's constantly done a ton of different shows and movies and video games, and it's just awesome. I mean, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 has him doing 3 characters, for goodness sake. So, it's just absolutely amazing to be able to do. But not only that, Charlotte Chung was also there, aka Diva or Argent, Julia Argent on Carmen Sandiego. Jennifer Hell, who was supposed to be the third guest, unfortunately had to leave that day for circumstances beyond our control. So, but I actually got the chance to speak to her the day before. So, I mean, she was a trooper, and she stayed for the day before just to, meet and greet with fans. And she was ever so angelic and sweet. And I spoke to her, and we're going to work our best to get her on the show at a later date, to make up for the lack of appearance per se, but it was definitely warranted. It was okay. We had more than enough entertainment, and Charlotte and Fred did a great job. And Jennifer is just such a sweetheart. I definitely will try to get her on the show because I would love to talk to her as well. But we had a great weekend again. Long Vo and Chamba from Udon Entertainment was one of my guests, the first guest on Saturday. So Saturday was my absolutely inaugural first panel ever. And I love the fact that was because it was in a smaller, more intimate setting. So I got a chance to talk with them, get a fill out of everywhere. And it was really, really great. I enjoyed it. We talked about the origin of Udon Entertainment, which Long Vo is the founder of, and which is awesome because I didn't realize I got artwork done by him, by the founder of it. So it was great to learn about that. Chamba, also his entry as well. We talked about past artists that they love and we all grew up with, and we talk about our experiences with Street Fighter. I also showed a few panels, a few screenshots that I had to design for the event, showing their work and what went behind, the behind the scenes aspect of that work. People got to ask some questions. It was a really good panel. As far as I actually did get a recording of it, but it's not up to my standards. So unfortunately, I will not show that one. Maybe here's what I think too. Both of these panels too. I never actually got a chance to really get some really good recording device, audio recording devices for this event because I had so much going on, and I felt like, you know what, let's just go ahead and just go with it and see how this goes and whatever. And plus the Overwatch from the recording devices I had, it was way too overwhelming for that device because of the echo in the room. And it's the Overwatch panel was a huge room. It was a huge hall, sat like about 300 people, and it just, the echo, even if you got a microphone or whatever, the echo in the room was just crazy. So I just decided, I'm like, let me make sure that I handle myself the way I need to before I can worry about that. And then if I do good, and if I come back next year or do another panel again, I'll be more prepared to make sure that I'm able to have the right equipment to be able to record it so you guys can listen to it. But honestly, it was awesome. I superseded my expectations, to be honest, because it just went so well with the panels and everything. We had a great conversation, and the questions were really great, and it just worked out. They loved it. Both Longvo and Chamba loved it. We had a great time, and again, shout out to them because they did something really cool for me. And when I met them, when I actually introduced myself on Friday and met them, they presented me with a t-shirt that I've been looking for, not exactly that I've been looking for, but what I wanted to do was wear a Udon Entertainment t-shirt to celebrate the panel that I was going to be on. I was going to wear it at the panel. Longvo decided that, he was going to look out for me, and both of those guys presented me with a t-shirt that had both their artwork in there. Longvo did Evil Ryu, and then on the other side, Chamba did Violent Ken from Ultra Street Fighter 2, the Final Challenger, which is on the Nintendo Switch. It is absolutely an awesome shirt. If you guys are on the A.C.M.G. Facebook group or the Keystone Comic-Con Facebook group, or on my Facebook profile, you saw that shirt. You saw that shirt. It's a unbelievably awesome shirt, and it's so appropriate for the event that we had. So it just worked out in so many ways. I will always cherish that shirt, and in return, I looked out for them as well. But also, I want to say that, thank them as well, because they also came up with the idea of giving away one of their illustrations that they drew just the night before. They're amazing. They just drew this. It looks so great. It was and you can see it on, I believe, Longvo's DeviantArt or Chamba's DeviantArt page. If you follow them on there, it's a picture of E Honda and Poison, which, if you guys have been playing Street Fighter V, they are the newest additions, the newest DLCs added to the season. So you got a chance to play with them, and those guys are phenomenal. That's why they're working with Capcom. That's why they've been drawing every single thing that involves Street Fighter for years, whether it's the comic book, the video games, whatnot, whatever. Those guys are just absolutely fantastic. So, thank them both again. And they, in return, I looked out for them. I had to, look out for them Philly style. Chamba was dying for a cheesesteak. And I had to look out for him. I went to, of course, if you're working a con or doing something, you can't go but so far. And thank goodness for us, there are not any touristy type of places. But we went to Reading Terminal. I went to Reading Terminal, and I got him a cheesesteak from, and shout out to Carmen's famous Italian hoagies and cheesesteaks, because they looked out. Actually, every time, if I eat a cheesesteak and I go to Reading Terminal, I do go to that place, and they're pretty good. As a person who lived in Philly, I do love a good place for cheesesteaks. I don't recommend any of those other places like Jim's or Pat's or, Jim's, Pat's, and Geno's, because they're so touristy and overrated. And it's not that they're bad, but they're not the best. They're absolutely, it's really not that they're bad at all, but it's just that they're overrated as far as the quality. I'm going to name a bunch of them, that I can mention, but he really enjoyed it. He actually put it on. They tagged me a lot over the weekend on Instagram and Twitter. It was awesome. I really appreciate the love. But he showed that he had a cheesesteak, and he put it on his IG story, which I thought was hilarious and really cool and kind of him to do it. Believe it or not, Longvo is a vegetarian, so luckily, again, Reading Terminal has whatever you need, and they had a vegetarian spot there. I got him some grape leaves. I hope he'd enjoyed it. Actually, I think he did, because again, after the fact, they thanked me for everything, at the con and all that stuff. So I really appreciate it. It was awesome and an honor to actually get a chance to hang with those guys and talk with those guys, and it was unbelievable. I will always remember this, absolutely. And God forbid if I ever come to San Diego again, you damn right I'm coming up to see you guys, because you're absolutely freaking awesome. So that panel went great, and I also got some great feedback from that panel as well. That panel I was really in control. I was in control, believe it or not, I was in full control of both panels, but I had to do a little bit more because we didn't have an AV deal. I had some people hook up my laptop so I can do my PowerPoint presentation of the, graphic that I put together, for them. And it looked really good on screen. I really appreciate I wish I would have got the gentleman's name who looked out for me, but don't tell my wife, because I know she's not going to listen. But I actually left the power cord, and she uses that laptop a lot, so that would have sucked. But anyway, I had managed to get it back, and he left it for me. He knew I left it, so it was awesome. I appreciate it. And just everybody, and really, shout out to everybody, all the volunteers, and all of the staff at Keystone Comic-Con. I thought everybody did a great job. There was no complaints about the staff and volunteer. There were little hiccups at the Tom Holland panel, but they managed to work it out. It was like thousands and thousands of people coming to see Tom Holland, so you can only imagine that there were going to be some bit of a mix-up in there. Not anything's perfect, but for the most part, everybody was super nice, absolutely sweet and kind. and diligently working to make sure everybody had a great time. And I felt they met every bit of that standard there. So I absolutely enjoyed it. So thanks everybody for the Street Fighter panel. It was just awesome. And right up my alley. I love that. I absolutely love talking about Street Fighter because this is my all-time favorite game. So then Sunday was a big deal. Because I the day before, right after I left a panel for Street Fighter, which luckily both my panel rooms were right across from each other. So we had 120A and then 120AB. Now I understand why they call it 120AB, because it's like 2-3 size the room of what I had before. And like I said, it houses like there were seats, about like 300 seats in there. It was huge. I have a picture of how huge this place. I had to take a picture of it to really analyze what I'm going to be working with and dealing with here the next day. So the deal was I had to work on the Tom Holland. I had to, cover the Tom Holland panel, which means I had to wake up like 4:30 in the morning, leave out 5, get there 6, be in that line till 10 o'clock, and then be able to take those pictures. But again, we'll talk about more of that on Sunday. But also, I had to stay there because I had the Voices of Overwatch panel. So I had to go directly into that morning, stay around, maybe take a few pictures, get ready, try to get something to eat, and then go right to that panel. Which I went to the panel, I went up to that stage, and I was extremely happy because I looked at this hall, I looked at 120AB, and was like, are there really going to be people? This thing's going to actually fill up. It very much could, and but there's a huge Overwatch fan base out there, and it showed because as I was sitting and waiting for these guys to come, and I'm pretty sure that it was a little bit later, but I know for a fact that because of everything that's going on, we had more crowd of people on a Sunday, more than I've ever seen in any Sunday ever at a con that is not SDCC or maybe even NYCC. It started filling, and I took pictures of this and filling, and I'm like, wow. By the time everything happened, they filled up, and I knew Fred and Charlotte was probably just finishing up on doing photos and photos and autographs and such like that. So we had a little bit of delay, but we did not disappoint. They came in, I introduced them, and at this point in time, I took it upon myself to just go all out. This panel was so important to me because it was one of the biggest. This was one of the premier highlight panels that they were advertising. Now, I wasn't the only one to just advertising this, but this was highly advertised by Keystone as one of their highlight premier panels. And again, thank you to Keystone and Eddie in particular for believing in me enough to handle something this big, despite the fact I've never done this before. But basically, what happened was how this happened is that, like I said, he reached out to me. We talked. We introduced ourselves after, my man Brian from, the brand coordinator from ReedPOP, Brian Stephenson, who I interviewed last year, reached out to them and said, I may be some great help. And Eddie came up with the idea of me doing that panel after hearing my podcast interviews with some of the other guests I've had on the show. And that pretty much stemmed it from there. And even though he knew that I'd never done it, for some reason he felt that I could. And I'm not going to, if somebody has faith in me to say that I can do something, I'm taking it up. I'm going to do it. And I did. I'm not going to miss out on opportunities like this, and I'm glad I didn't. And when they finally came in, the handler came in and said that they were here, asked me to announce them. And yeah, it went all out. I introduced them. They came in. The crowd I had to hype the crowd up majorly. And the crowd was so uberly excited with everything that went on that day. So we got the crowd hype. They came in. They were excited. They got the biggest ovation ever. I'm pretty sure other panels across heard it. And it was just absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. And we just went on from there. We had a great time. We started talking about everything. It literally felt, by the way, the fans that came in, it's 300 seated hall. It was a few seats shy of 300. I was so amazed by this and happy about this. We had a great time, and it was just surreal to be a part of this. We talked about their visit here in Philly and how it was, and it was a really funny moment when I stupidly revealed the place that Charlotte went to eat a cheesesteak and wasn't pleased with. Now, for the record, I do slightly apologize for that, only because most of our people in our city agrees with our sentiment for the place that she went to get a cheesesteak. So it's not really that big of a deal in a sense, but I know she didn't want to put people on blast like that. So I did. not intentionally. It just slipped out. But it was just funny. It was a really funny moment that we started off with. But yeah, if you really want, hopefully we had a great, nonetheless we had a great laugh, but hopefully that she redeemed herself. And I really hope she redeemed herself by going to the places that me and Fred went to, which was Carmen, famous Italian hoagies and cheesesteaks. Because if you can't go farther out, like going down to South Street or going to other places to get a cheesesteak, that's the best safe bet. Like Carmen Italian, I should really be getting paid for this. Carmen, famous Italian hoagies and cheesesteaks in Reading Terminal is a really great safe bet. They do really great cheesesteaks there, and and I don't recommend Cheese Whiz. I don't understand the Cheese Whiz thing. I never in my life. I lived in Southwest Philly, West Philly, and in Winfield, now University City. Throughout all my life, never had Cheese Whiz on my damn steaks. Never, ever, just never. I don't understand the deal with that. I just don't. American cheese for life. So, I do if we had the chance, I would have definitely said, first and foremost, go to Iskabibbles in South Street, bar none. Not only that, but their fries are awesome. They got some great fries. Me and my wife always go down there for both of those. If anything, just the fries. But also, I would say their chicken cheesesteak is really good too. They marinated and everything. Larry's Steaks and St. Joseph's is great. The belly fillers, those are awesome. Chicky and Pete's, the lobster cheesesteaks is phenomenal. Those are really great spots. But if you had to be at a con and you don't have anywhere to go, but you've never had a cheesesteak before, your safe bet is Carmen's, bar none, Reading Terminal right there. So, but again, we had a great time. We were talking about, their work and Overwatch and, how things went about. And maybe some other things like, can we get a movie? Not to say that they were, if you were at the panel before, I really was wondering, like, I've watched those, shorts, and I'm like, those things are they could do so much with this franchise. And I know they're working hard on doing the esport and everything, but man, they could cover so much other ground, because you got people who are maybe not be esports, but love the game. And you got also characters that are with some phenomenal character development and some great personalities and great stories behind them that you can still pull on. And I am like, wow, what are you guys doing? Like, I mean, think about, and I made the mention of Pokemon because Game Freak eventually comes out and they created Pokemon and they kept creating different Pokemons, and eventually they went to the anime, and the anime created a new universe for itself. And then later on, they wind up having a movie, which is, Pokemon Detective Pikachu. It took years for that to happen, and who's to say that it can't happen for Overwatch as well? So, we covered a lot of that stuff right there and all those situations and some other things, really cool things that happened. But it turned out to be the crowd absolutely ate it up and loved it. And the one thing that I really love is that I, spontaneously just decided we had wireless mics. And we were like running almost like to the 15-minute mark. It was like the half hour mark of it. And I wanted to give people a chance to get some questions, and just a little bit, because I didn't want to overwhelm them with, constant questions. So just a few. So I allowed myself to go out there and be the Oprah, or like I told Fred, I aged myself and said, pretty much the Donahue of the deal. And he absolutely loved it because, we're at the age that we know who the hell Donahue is. So I figured he would get a kick out of that. So I was able to really do a talk show type of environment and go out into the crowd. And if you see the pictures at those pictures, you can see some of those pictures on Instagram. You could also, as well as the A.C.M.G Facebook group and Keystone Comic-Con, where you can see how many people are in that crowd. It's packed, and there are pictures. Thanks to my sister, Ayana. Thank you. I gave her my my Megatron camera, my Canon, what I call Megatron Canon, and she was able to take pictures of everything. She did a great job for somebody who's never used that camera before. So that, or I'm just a really good teacher. But I did kind of make it easy for her to just point and click. That's it. And set it up properly. But she took some really good pictures of me and the crowd. And you can see how deep the crowd is and how far I am from where she was sitting at. It was deep. It was like there was a deep amount of people. I love the fact that there were cosplayers there as well. It was just absolutely awesome. I loved it. And we had a great time. And the best part about it all for me was that I was able to do my closing. And I've been wanting to do my closing. I was hoping I would be able to get it in. And that's why I wanted to get a few questions in and to just run right back to the stage and, do my closing. And I did, and it was awesome, because I talked about how I have a supernatural sense of getting to meet some really talented people based upon some things that I end up buying. And again, it's how, years later, I brought that Naruto figure and ended up meeting Molly. Years later, the Long Vo situation, which he drew, I brought the Art of Capcom book from San Diego Comic-Con, and I ended up doing a panel with him the day before. And then here we are. I brought that Overwatch bag that I use all the time, that I brought from from Keystone Comic-Con last year. And now I'm doing an Overwatch panel, and I figured that was a sign right there. So I can't thank everybody enough. I can't thank you to Fred, thank you to Charlotte, thank you to Jennifer, for even coming to Keystone Comic-Con and meeting all the fans and everything. Like I said, angelic heart too. When I met her, and I actually introduced and met her, I felt like I was talking to Gaia, like the goddess of Earth. It was like really, it was a goddess, motherly, angelic type of atmosphere, and she was just beautiful. I mean, literally just a beautiful soul and a beautiful personality. It's just all over. I really hope that we could get her on the show, so I'm going to work hard to get her on the show, because there's so much I want to talk about with her. And the fact that she is Chronica, it kills me that she's just angelic, and then she plays these roles and she plays Ash and everything. It's hilarious, but that's a credit to her craft. Guaranteed. So, again, thank Charlotte, thank Fred, who were very, very happy at the end, and thanked them for the soundbite. The soundbite was awesome, that you just heard before the show. At the end of the panel, they were more than happy to do it. And the cool part is, this is the first time and I've always wanted this, the first time that I was able to have two guests do a soundbite at once. And they knocked it out the park. They only did it once. They talked about, I do have the recording, the audio of them talking about how they're going to put this together. Because I did somewhat record the panel, but it's like I said, it's not up the par to the way that it should be to be on the show. Like I tried it, but my equipment is not powerful enough to handle that room. So it just wasn't happening. I think like if I do this again, I'm gonna invest in some definite equipment. But I got a chance to, they were talking about how they were gonna put it together, and it was just real quick. Like, all right, we're just gonna do it together. You do this line, and then we both do this line, and that's how you got the soundbite that you hear right now. And they are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I love Fred Tatasciore and in his Soldier 76 voice, and her in her diva voice. It's just absolutely, it just made my day. But even more was just afterwards, because Fred went off and said the most kindest thing. Now that I do have a recording. And he was really appreciative of the questions that I provided. He didn't have to say this. He didn't have to do this at all, but he was really appreciative. It always amazes me when I hear that from my guests and say how good the questions were, how great the show was, and how good they feel. And they end up coming back on the show. to, like 2 or 3 times as a result. I mean, they really do enjoy it. And I am humbled by this. But Fred pretty much was like, I really enjoyed this. You're a really great host. I loved your questions. And we got to do this again. So I am more than happy. I'm sure he'll have some new project come down the future. So no doubt I will absolutely get in contact with Fred Tatasciore, and we will have an exclusive 101 with her. I will try my best to get Charlotte back on as well, because I think we could have a really good conversation too. But again, thank you to Keystone Comic-Con. Not just Eddie, but MK Goodwin, who was on this show before. They really knocked it out the park the entire weekend. Betty, Waspy, Steph, everybody. Brian Stephenson as well. He wasn't there this year, but, for him to connect me with those guys this year, and it just worked out so well. It just really worked out so well. I got to reach back out to him as well as thank him. But it was great. And afterwards, I mean, it was just, like I said, there was such a good reception of my hosting performance there. Like, people were coming to me and telling me how much they enjoyed it. As I was walking and leaving the place, there were other people who were at the panel. I got people who reached out to me on Instagram and thanking me as well, and saying how much of a great, panel it was. What can I say? You got to work hard to have fun. And I've said that many times, and I will never stop saying that. I've had this 6 years since A.C.M.G started. 3 of those years was the podcast, going on 4. And a lot of hard work went into this. And this is what it was all for. I'm having fun doing it, but I knew how hard I had to work to make it happen. Just like the people at ReedPOP worked their asses off to give us a great time at this event, to bring Tom Holland to this event, to bring the Voices of Overwatch to this event, to bring the Udon Entertainment artists to Philly, which they'd never been in Philly before. Neither have Fred Tatasciore. I've seen all those guys in San Diego Comic-Con. They've never been here in the city of Philadelphia. And it was an honor to have them all. Charlotte as well, and Jennifer as well, and just everybody. The Weasleys, all those guys. The Star Trek people, guys. Just an honor to have all these guys. And people, please, do take time to thank the people behind the scenes. Because if you had a great time, you damn sure better thank them, because you have no idea what goes into event planning. It's a major deal. So many elements, so many things are going on. It's way easy to bitch and complain. It's way harder to make it happen. So appreciate what these people have done as much as I have. And again, it's just, when it comes to me, it's just a testament of how much I really wanted it. How much you really wanted it. If you really want it so bad, you can't just assume or expect to have it. You just got to get it. And you got to do whatever you need to get it. And you have to do all that you can to get it. And it's not just, you can't feel entitled. You can't feel like, you're deserving of this. You have to really prove that you are who you say you are, that you love what you love. And this was just a testament of it. And I thank Keystone, ReedPOP for giving me this opportunity, because 3 years ago, I'm sorry. You know what? I just thought about that. The podcast is way older than 3 years ago, because I didn't start this podcast 3 years ago. It's way older than 3 years ago. I started this podcast when I was working corporate. But 3 years ago, I left corporate to to prove my worth and to get it. And I feel like this weekend redeemed all that. This was total redemption of me getting the opportunities that I wanted, to get the trust that I wanted, to get the faith that people had in me, and to prove that I am who I say I am. I can't thank them enough for that. So, and again, and also, before I even end this and go to the news, I definitely want to give a shout out to the A.C.M.G folks that came in, and the Keystone Comic-Con folks as well. All of those Keystone Comic-Con group folks out there, shout out to you, the ones I got a chance to meet, Jenny V, a few others out there, and the ones that I didn't, I'm sorry, but we got next year. So let's keep it together and keep it community on that note. But as far as my A.C.M.G Facebook group, guys, definitely Craig Holland. He's always been a big supporter of me. Actually, kind of a friend of the family, because he used to go to school with my sisters and all that stuff too. Jay Dixon and his girlfriend Takia, who came all the way from DC to come and support me and my panels and everything, and just have a good time here in Philadelphia. Of course, my old dude Pat, my brother. Literally my brother Pat John Vieira, who came in to check out the panel and was very proud of everything that I did from there. My sister, of course, Ayana, and my brother-in-law Hakeem, who will be going to AEW when it comes to Philly soon. As well as my nieces Amaya and Ava, who were just so happy to see their uncle on stage. It was really, really cool to see at the Overwatch panel. And then, my old friend Chris as well, who I got a chance to hang out. He's a big comic book buff as well, so we got a chance to hang out and have fun and, buy a few things. And it's been a long time since we got a chance to hang out, so this is a kind of a reunion for everybody here. So it was awesome. Thank everybody again. And here's the great part about this. I talked to some of the powers that be at ReedPOP, and again, they, I gave them my thanks. They thanked me back. I was told by powers that be that, friends of theirs attended my panel and, said a lot of great things about the panel, to the point that I expect me to come back next year at Keystone Comic-Con to possibly do more panels. So get ready. But not only that, there's a possibility because I was told that my info has been traveled out to different places. For instance, New York Comic-Con. For instance, Anime Fest, which that's going to be interesting if we can work that out. But that's just a testament of the great weekend I had. So I won't be able to go to New York Comic-Con this year, and I was planning on it, but I can tell you I absolutely have it locked. It's a definite 2020 A.C.M.G will be coming to New York Comic-Con, and it's going to be huge. Trust me. Now, the question is, how will Talk Time Live be a part of that? That's going to be a question. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes from there. And again, just thank everybody for that. And just a milestone weekend for A.C.M.G. and A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live. Just definitely, and it couldn't have been done without everybody involved. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to some other news, because obviously there's some other news in the world of gaming here. And let's check this out. Polygon has reported Telltale Games is being revived. I knew this was going to happen. I knew eventually somebody was going to take it. And by a new company with the rights to Wolf Among Us and Batman already in the lineup. A new company run by Jamie Alderley and Brian Waddell, who are the founders of what is called LCG Entertainment. I think his name is pronounced Autel. Autel has confirmed that a few developers from the original Telltale Games teams will be offered freelance roles with full-time positions possible in the future. And I get that. That makes a lot of sense. There's no guarantee. This is an investment to these guys. This is to see if these games are going to sell. So if these games sell, which I kind of think they will, especially if they add a little bit something new to it as well, to these game aspects, and the stories is good and everything, and they have some new content, I believe that this can work. So I believe possibly what it sounds like is excuse me, if there is a success in this game, or in the games that they will be coming out, like say the sequel to Wolf Among Us and Batman, if they're successful, then there's a possibility for full-time gigs. So I get what's going on here, and I respect it. Just the fact that they're even trying is awesome. At this time, there were no mention of other games such as Borderlands, Game of Thrones, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Minecraft. However, The Walking Dead is now owned by Skybound, and Stranger Things has returned to Netflix. So unless there's some type of an agreement that comes about that for later, for a later date, those two will not be coming along. So this is a great thing. I knew this was going to happen because, Telltale is a company that has a genre of gaming unlike anybody else at this time. I mean, there are others out there that has tried it or done it, but Telltale is the originators. They're the innovators. They're the revolutionaries of this game genre, of this storytelling game genre. So I am so happy that they're back to do this, and it's pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up soon in the near future. So again, no dates or anything else has been told, but we'll report things as it develops from there. So, other news, Yacht Club Games. You guys remember, if you guys have been listening to the show, consistently, we had them on a show for an exclusive to talk about one of their other games. They're one of their ninja side-scrolling games that will be coming out soon. Well, much to our surprise, and unbeknownst to everybody, they're coming out with another new Shovel Knights game entitled Shovel Knights Dig. Now, the cool part about this is, like, all of them are cool anyway, but what is cool about this is that this game plays like SteamWorld Dig. If you guys know that, that's one of my favorite indie games that I've played in a while. And it is playing along with that, which has you tunneling deep into the world to find his stolen treasure. Sounds a hell of a lot like SteamWorld Dig. So that game is going to be a part of that. The game is noticeably improved visuals as it is now in 16-bit graphics mode here. So as opposed to its original 8-bit mode. So this is a step up. I actually am very excited about this game. It looked really good. I love SteamWorld Dig, so I know Yacht Club Games can make this look really good and play really good. It looks like a Super Nintendo game right now, bar none. So I am very happy. There's no info on the release date. It was just a teaser trailer that showed. So again, we will report things as it develops from there. But I'm looking very forward to that game. It looked really good. It looked just like a Super Nintendo game that I used to play back in the day. So it just looks like a lot of fun. So Disney is planning to bring back some 16-bit classics of their own, such as from the Super NES and the Sega Genesis, which will be available on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. It will consist of Disney's Aladdin, which was on a Sega Genesis, which I thought was the best version of it. You will also be able to get Disney's Aladdin for the Game Boy, which includes the Game Boy Color the Super Game Boy Color version. Disney's Aladdin Final Cut. Nobody knows what the hell that version consists of. Disney Aladdin's Trade Show demo. Also, that's a mystery to everybody. Now, as far as the Aladdin games, I played the Super Nintendo version. Nothing compares to the Genesis version. Nothing. That game was so great. What I loved about that game too, I never really listened to the music of that. Back then, when I was playing that game, I was listening to I used to play music in the background and put it on pause. And if you are into R&B, you understand this. I thought the best background music to play that game was Babyface. Like Kenny Babyface Edmonds. Because you have like an adventure love story type of thing. And I think Babyface's third album was the album that was CD that I was listening to, and I used to play. I forgot the song. I think "Never Tell a Secret" or something like that, or "Never Tell a Lie." I used to play that every single time I used to fly in the what mode is that? When he used to fly with the rug, with the magic carpet. And it was just such a cool thing. Like, Babyface's music fit perfectly for that game. I wish there was a way that they would have been able to do that. Or it came out during the time of the PlayStation where you could play your own music while you're playing the game. I wish they'd go back to that. So weird. But also, what comes with this as well is the Lion King for the Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, which also includes a Super Game Boy Color version as well. There also is a feature that allow upscale graphics with original visuals as an option, filters for visual enhancement, arcade scan lines per se, just like the other Disney games that they brought out before. This one will include a rewind feature. A lot of these games now are coming out with rewind features. I love that. I forgot what game that originally did that too, and now where they're getting that from. It's an indie game that started doing that, and now everybody's jumping on the bandwagon of that feature. But it wasn't Bastion. I forgot what game that was. Damn it. But the rewind feature, which it's from the other remastered Disney games, like Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers and what is that? DuckTales 1 and 2 and all that stuff. Darkwing Duck. All of that will be actually available for that. They also will be an art gallery and explorable museum showing behind the scenes developments and interviews as well. Art gallery is, as I mentioned, music player. All of this, now this is a good deal, all of this for $29.99. The great part about that is that you had games that once was, I believe, like $60 each, $50 to $60 a pop. You get all that plus all these features behind it for just $29.99. To me, that's actually a steal. If you're a fan of all the Disney games from the past, whether you were a fan of the Super Nintendo or the Sega Genesis, here you could get this. Still get you more of your money's worth if you only like playing the Super Nintendo version or just the Genesis version. Plus, you have all the other options as well. So that's a pretty damn good deal. So last bit of news is that this Friday, tomorrow, if you're listening to it today, or if you listen to it right now on this Friday, game releases that I'm looking forward to that I will be reviewing next week. Astral Chains by Platinum Games for the Nintendo Switch. The exclusive game is finally coming. It's finally here. I'm ready for it. We're going to have a great time checking this out. I have full faith in Platinum Games. There's not one Platinum Games title that I've not played that I've not enjoyed. And that goes for like Bayonetta, that goes for Transformers Devastation, that goes for the Turtles. They did all that. And now they're doing this brand new IP called Astral Chains. Just stunning anime looking game. It looks absolutely phenomenal. I'm looking forward to it. We're counting down the days. I know it's going to unlock in the stroke of midnight. Will I be up at midnight to play it? To be continued. But I will be playing it tomorrow as well, so check it out. I will be reviewing it fully next week, so stay tuned because that will be the final stage review of that game. We also have Marvel Ultimate Alliance with its first DLC pack, a free DLC pack for even people who have not actually purchased the season mode or whatever like that, and you automatically get Cyclops and I'm so glad, because when I saw Cyclops in the game and it's the Jim Lee version of Cyclops, I immediately I want to play him. I've always loved the Jim Lee version of Cyclops, and I'm looking forward to playing that so much. So that is going to be available. Colossus is going to be available. So you're going to have an actual full X-Men team, with the exception of Beast. Beast is the only one that will not be available at this time, so I guess he will be unlocked which, by the way, X-Men Beast is played by Fred Tatasciore as well, so another great, thing about that game. But you will be able to, that DLC will be coming out soon, so I'm assuming that he will be available as well. The other thing that they're doing, which I am so happy with, because that was one of the biggest negatives about the game, and I think I graded it because of that negative. And in fact, I'm going to have to rescore and regrade the game now, because they have announced that this DLC will also come with brand new skins, and not just color palette skins. We're talking actual skins. Spider-Man will have the black symbiote suit that he'll be able to wear. Hawk will have Planet Hawk, and Captain Marvel will be donning the Miss Marvel skin. Okay, this gets an A+. I thought I gave it an A before, but I think this gets an A+ now, because now we got the skins. That's what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for that. So it pretty much now has everything it's have, which means there are going to be more skins coming along soon, probably for the other DLC that will be coming down the line. So I'm very much looking forward to tomorrow and being able to... I'm still playing the game right now. I still love the game. I'm still trying to level up with all of the other characters, and the story mode is really fantastic. To me, it is. I know there are people that were saying that it was loose or whatever. No, I thought it was a lot of fun. It plays really well. To me, is really epic. The replay value is huge. And the more you level up, the more chances that you'll get everything that you are looking for in the game. So I absolutely enjoyed the hell out of this game. If you haven't gotten it yet, probably now's the time. Or maybe down the line at Christmas. Maybe you'll get it. Maybe there'll be a deal or whatever. And it will be great. It will be absolutely great. So I highly recommend going after both of these games, because they're going to be epic. And Astral Chains is one of the big, features that people were looking for when they announced it. I think way back at E3 or whatever like that. It was E3 or the Game Awards. I forgot which one that premiered that game. And I was like, whoa, what the hell is this? And then come to find out that Platinum Games was a part of it. I was like, I'm all for it. So I'm so for this. So get ready for those two. And I'm not sure, but I may actually talk about a retro game next week as well. Because on my screen, as I'm looking right now, there is a SNK game that I never really played. Now, you got to understand. If I remember, I told you I got the, the Retro Pi console that a friend of mine gave me. And It has like over 5,000 games in here. You got to remember, if you had an arcade back in the day, not all of these games were in your town or your region or your area. Some of these games are brand spanking new to people who've never seen some of these games. So Breaker's Revenge is what is playing on my screen right now as I'm doing this show. And I'm going to play around with it later on today, and I may actually check it out. It's a fighting game I've never played before. It's just like a sequel. There's 2 Breaker games, and it's a sequel. And I finally understood how to work the RetroPie OS now to learn how to save and to load and to actually, reset to the main menu. So I finally figured it out, and I'm pretty much a master at it now. So I may actually talk about that game as well for my retro review of that. So stay tuned for all that and much, much more. Folks, that will do it for this edition of A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live Extra Select Star. Thank you so very much. This Sunday, we're back again with the live show. We're going to review Young Justice Outsiders. The season's over, and this is going to be a debate. Because everybody talks about, when you talk about one of the greatest comic book series of all time, all the time, a lot of it comes up as JLA, Justice League Unlimited, which was my also big thing. Dwayne McDuffie was one of the best writers ever. The late, great Dwayne McDuffie was one of the greatest writers ever and wrote some really great storylines for this series and gave it a serious content, toward continuity towards this. And the dialogue was different. It was just like they pointed out some serious ways. But Young Justice Outsiders, they made their return after a long hiatus, after a long debate and what was it? People were just clamoring for this to come back and, do a 3rd season. They did, and they came back with full force. And dare I say, there's an argument that could be made that this is dethroned Justice League Unlimited. So we're going to talk about that this Sunday on Talk Time Live, as well as the Tom Holland panel and other news that comes about as well. I just want to point out, if you're from the A.C.M.G. Facebook group and you're listening and you're in Philly, shout out to my great friend Kiana, who also, my God, I forgot about. Shout out to her. Kiana was there. She was with me at the Tom Holland panel. She was also there at the Overwatch panel as well. There's a picture of all of us there. Forgive me, but not without saying. She is doing her monthly outing for all adults to go out and have fun at the Thirsty Dice Cafe, which is a board game cafe. Great food, over 400 board games for us to play, and we had a great time. It's like the 4th time we're going now, and each time has grown. Like, there was 11 people last time. I'm looking forward to seeing how many people are going to be coming this time. Again, we had a great time. The food is great. They got a lot of great, like, original sodas, like hipster-style sodas that they do. And I'm looking forward to being around them as well. She supported me great time. I love, with the panels. I'm looking out for her there, and we're just it's all about having a good time. I mean, we have fun online, but damn it, we got to get outline sometime. We got to get offline sometime. Sometime we have to leave the Matrix, go into the real world, and enjoy ourselves in person. And this is one of the great ways. So Kiana's game night is coming tomorrow night at 11. So if you're in the Philly area, if you're part of the A.C.M.G. Facebook group, come and join us, man. We had a great time before. We're going to have a great time again. And looking forward to these outings, because you need to. We absolutely need it. We need to be, and not just everybody, no matter who you are. Just come out. So shout out to her. I'm looking forward to seeing her again tomorrow, and we're going to have a great time. So, folks, that will do it. On behalf of myself, this is Dak Xavier Josiah saying, learn to let go, live life, and love all things anime, comics, movies, and games. This is A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live. I am out of here. See you guys on Sunday. Music for this episode is provided by Game Chops. Check out these great chiptune tracks and more at music.gamechops.com.